Let's keep it clean and come out fighting, because today we're talking Punch-Out! Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Awkward Gary here, and today I'm going to be talking about Punch-Out! For the NES. Recently, it got a re-release on the 3DS, and I'm going to be talking about that version. Punch-Out! Came out in 1987 for the NES, originally called Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! A few years later, it came out as a Gold Edition, which was renamed Punch-Out! Featuring Mr. Dream. Punch-Out! Features a boxer known as Little Mac working his way up to the professional boxing circuits, facing a series of colorful and fictional boxers, leading to a final fight with the real-life boxer, the then world heavyweight champion Mike Tyson. But in the 3DS port and in the later version, you get to fight Mr. Dream at the end. He's not as hard as Mike Tyson, but it's still a pretty hard final boss, you know. Anyway, gameplay is fairly simple. Little Mac has a limited repertoire compared to most of the opponents you face, because your punches are limited to left and right jabs to either the head or the stomach. And you can aim for your opponent's head by pressing up on the directional pad or on the circle pad if you're playing on 3DS. You can, however, gain up enough points to use the Star Punch, which is a one-hit KO. Usually you can only earn a star for the Star Punch by counter-punching the opponent directly before or after one of their signature attacks. You can acquire up to 3 stars, and it's actually a little difficult to pull off because your opponent's constantly blocking. Anyway, the opponents that you face are very stereotypical depending on where they're from. You've got Piston Honda from Japan, hence Honda, the name of the car. You have Soda Popinski from Russia. His original name was something related to vodka, and they took it out because they figured alcoholic drinks shouldn't be featured in kids' games, so they made it Soda Pop, you know? And it still kind of fits in where he's from, I guess, because Russia's known for soda, right? Right, guys? No? Okay, then. Anyway, the game has 3 different leagues that you can be in: the minor circuit, the standard circuit, and then the world circuit. Each of them ranging in difficulty from the weakest being Glass Joe, which is your first fight in the minor circuit, to Mike Tyson or Mr. Dream in the world circuit. And moving on to the gameplay. Gameplay is pretty solid. You know, if you mess up, it's your fault. You know, there's no blaming it on, no, the computer's being cheap. No, it's not being cheap. It requires you to read your opponent's movements, and they give you quite a bit of time to react in response to their movements. Moving on to the soundtrack. The soundtrack for this game is pretty freaking good. I enjoyed the music very much. In fact, it's actually on my workout playlist on my iPhone. You know, the music's pretty catchy. In fact, I chose the minor circuit theme for this video simply because it is my favorite soundtrack in the game. Though it really doesn't change all that much when you move up to the larger circuits. Anywho, the fighter Little Mac, fun fact, is actually featured in the new Super Smash Brothers, and a lot of his moves are featured in that game. Although there's even though he had very little moveset in the game that he came from, so they had to make up a few more moves for him to have. That's a story for another game. But yeah, it's got solid gameplay, very good difficulty ramp. It's not like, oh, it's easy, then BAM! Suddenly it hits you like a wall. This game gets a 10 out of 10. It's a pretty perfect game. The only complaint that I have with it is the opponents take way too long to get knocked out. Other than that, it's not too shabby at all. So go ahead and pick it up on the 3DS eShop, or if you have a Wii U, it's also available on there. I believe it's about $2.99 to $5.99. It's not too expensive, so go ahead and check it out if you can. This is Awkward Gary signing out. See ya.